Angry Birds Transformers featured some pretty crazy Autobirds, but that's just one half of the cast. What would the birds be fighting for without the Deceptihogs? It's a smaller group of characters for sure. 66 is nothing to scoff at, but I'm just thankful we have a shorter list. And a lot of them are, once again, just beat up versions of these same exact characters with no change to their abilities in any way. On one hand, the main Deceptihogs like King Pig and Chef Pig have very few alternate versions, which is awesome compared to the birds list. On the other hand, that's mostly because 1/3 of them are Minion Pigs. Obviously Minion Pig is just the easiest choice, but come on. Compared to the amount of birds we got, that just seems so boring. I also just want to say I was surprised to see how many non-Angry Birds fans watched the last video, especially when it was titled ranking every Angry Birds bird part 5. But it was awesome hearing actual Transformers fans' thoughts on the characters, and how I sometimes accidentally stumble into a deep cut Transformers reference. I really hope to see you all again in the comments here, and just remember I truly know nothing about the Transformers series, so apologies in advance. Anyways, it was super fun reading all the Transformers names last time, so I'm doing it again. Feel free to skip this part, it makes no difference to me. Our list of Deceptihogs are Dark Megatron, Energon Megatron, Ultimate Megatron, Lord Megatron, Neon, Bludgeon, Neon Bludgeon, Brawl, Scout Brawl, Shockwave, Energon Shockwave, Major Shockwave, Neon Shockwave, Lockdown, Energon Lockdown, Dead End, Barricade, Sergeant Barricade, Neon Barricade, Soundwave, Energon Soundwave, Major Soundwave, Neon Soundwave, Soundblaster, Neon Soundblaster, Breakdown, Galvatron, Energon Galvatron, Motormaster, Menasor, Dragstrip, Scorponok, General Scorponok, and Neon Scorponok. This next group is all Minion Pig. Final stretch though. Starscream, Energon Starscream, Captain Starscream, Neon Starscream, Thundercracker, Sergeant Thundercracker, Neon Thundercracker, Acid Storm, Seeker Acid Storm, Skywarp, Special Officer Skywarp, Neon Skywarp, Sunstorm, Ionstorm, Novastorm, Seeker Novastorm, Neon Seeker Novastorm, Devastator, Sergeant Devastator, Cyclonus, Dirge, Ramjet, Seeker Ramjet, and Thrust. Oh, and I'll also rank the random enemy pigs and the birds that have been added since my last video on the house. Without further ado, let's find out which of these pigs would destroy an Autobird and which ones are just a complete and utter nerd. We start the list with one of the coolest Deceptihogs out there, Dark Megatron. He just looks so awesome. Those purple spiky horns make for the perfect crown for King Pig. And of course King Pig is Megatron. How could he not be? Because of this, he also gets to be a tank, which is just an objectively cool vehicle for a Transformer to be. His feet are actually tank treads, it's so smart. This is a rare case where I prefer the in-game design to the animated and comic version of the character. Also, why does every character have a metal nose? Someone please explain this to me. Anyways, I do love this version of the character, but unfortunately, in-game he is definitely not the strongest. He fires a big black hole, toppling any towers within his range and popping any pigs who come near it. A very satisfying power for sure, but I know they get better. Still, for being such an icon with one of the best translated designs, I think I have to say A tier. Unlike Optimus Prime, we didn't get too many duplicate versions of Megatron. Of course, we start with Energon Megatron, which has a nice sing-songy ring to it, and while it's supposed to have the same ability, I tried playing as him and he sucked! Genuinely, he just missed half the time. Typically, these Energon forms are just meant to be better. If you didn't know what the Energon and Neon versions do, they take more damage but can heal when they collect Energon cubes in battle. Makes sense. But if you know me, you know I hate these lazy glowing versions of the characters. It definitely can get worse though. I'll be nice and say B. With a name like Ultimate Megatron, I was really expecting a much more exciting design. It just doesn't stand out. It has a similar weapon to the original, but fires 2 black holes, each smaller but way more powerful. It's just better. The main downsides are how slowly he moves and recharges his attack. For not being as iconic, I'm gonna say B, even if I do like playing this one a little bit more. Again, Lord Megatron sounds awesome, but it's our first scratched out variant of the list. Great! But unlike most of these that have no change to their abilities in any way, they actually made this one different. Still black hole of course, but now the object sucked into the vortex will randomly fall from the sky to deal even more damage. It's a nice gimmick, saving it from a low rating. How about a C tier? Our last Megatron is a duplicate of a duplicate, Lord Megatron Neon. I don't really know why it's called Neon. It not only looks like an Energon version, but has the effect of all Energon types. I guess Neons are just cooler, and to clarify, all Neon characters have the exact same trait as their Energon types. Most of these look bad, but this one's okay. D tier. I am once again left asking what the hell is happening in these cutscene comics, and why aren't the Fork and Knife Transformers playable? Bludgeon is actually the first King Pig character you unlock in the game. I've always really hated the color scheme he has, on top of the whole white face thing. Thankfully his weapon is also pretty bad, so either way he's gonna suck. His triple shot spread can be good on impact, but most of the time that middle shot is all that hits, and it's not strong enough to place him any higher than D tier. Neon Bludgeon is a Neon Bludgeon. I genuinely like the look of him more than his original form. Strangely, he has the same attack as Lord Megatron, so now 3 characters have that ability I didn't even really like. D tier again. Then we have Brawl, sporting some of the ugliest shades of green I've ever seen. I'm starting to get mad that every King Pig variant is just gonna have the same freaking weapon. It's Bludgeon again, but without the spread shot. Who cares if it's stronger? It still sucks. F tier. Brawl is the only Decepticon I have a telepod for, but if you saw this telepod, I'm not sure you'd know it was Brawl. It is a completely different shade of green. The head is not even close to the same, and I struggle to call this thing a tank. They attempted to put a gun on the front, but otherwise it is clearly a car. What a rip-off. I feel better and better about that F tier the longer I think about it. It's been far too long since we got a beat-up clone. Thank you, Scout Brawl. Thank you for duplicating a character I hated and made him look uglier, completely stealing the same weapon I hated, and duplicating a spot in F tier. We're already at King Pig's last variant, but it's definitely the best. Meet Shockwave. While his animations are the same, meaning we'll have to watch him ballerina twirl again, he was given a completely unique look, actually attempting to have a character look like how they're supposed to. For context, here's the Bludgeon side by side, and here's Shockwave. On top of that, he has a very powerful laser shot, piercing any pig or structure. I think he's great. I'm throwing out my first S tier. The blue Energon lights are a great look for his design. B tier. Wow, you're telling me Dirty Shockwave has an actually unique ability? 3-shot laser bullets that are actually kinda good? This might be the best lazy ripoff character we've ever seen. B tier. Holy shit, Shockwave's hype train truly never ends. The neon version looks sick. A better Energon Shockwave means A tier in my book. Next on the list is Foreman Pig as Lockdown. I'm happy to report they have nailed my man. Mustache Pig has always been one of my favorites, and he is as cool as ever in this game. It definitely helps they gave him Lockdown, literally driving around in a Lambo, but his metal mustache and eyebrows are iconic. It is hard to get better than this. Even with his face on a fridge, I'm still infatuated with the guy. In game, however, his shots aren't very strong, but they make up for it in speed and quantity. It would be hard to say he's bad, but I'm not quite sure he's the best either. Let's give him a solid A tier. Guys, I hate to ruin the moment, but Mustache Pig's Skibbity Toilet is real and I'm really scared about it! Lockdown is already pretty blue, so I'm not a huge fan of Energon Lockdown. Mustache Pig's gonna get a lot of top tiers. I don't feel that bad saying D tier for this one. In his fully upgraded form, Dead End actually looks so freaking cool. Looking at pictures of him when you first unlock him though, I do hate how much he still looks like a car. I'm really glad his chest gets covered up, so much cooler this way. Anyways, I wanted to read about the nuances of abilities on the Angry Birds wiki, but instead I got some insane psychobabble poetry. Can we check on whoever wrote this and make sure they're okay? We are doomed. Dead End has eternal depression, and he whines about everything. About the battles in which he participated, about the excessive fluffiness of his mustache, and sometimes about life in general. Okay, that's enough. It's a computer game. About birds. Evil birds. And disguised robots. You have to calm down or you'll break the roof and you'll be like grandfather's end. Although, what else to expect from the Mustache Pig after the energy egg? Despite eternal pessimism, he always wants to look good, but the other Deceptihogs only laugh at how he cleans everything, and this makes him even darker. Once in a difficult situation, he always wins that both he and everyone who is around, well, they're doomed. The soul of the company, isn't it? Do you want to know what he thinks about all this Yate boat curl? You don't have to ask. We are doomed. Checking on the weapon in game, it seems to be a big shotgun blast. It's guaranteed at your target and anything else it hits is just a bonus. It's genuinely one of my favorites, meaning we have another S tier on our hands. Now hold on, don't start chanting ACAP just yet. Barricade isn't that bad. He just bullies others for petty reasons and blares his siren for the sake of being loud. He just abuses his power, guys, that's it. Moving on, Barricade takes that triple spread shot Bludgeon had and turns it vertical. Wait a second, how often are you needing to attack things above and below you? Maybe all cops really are horrible. Let's generalize them all based on this one pig and say C. They went really light on the Mustache Pig characters. We're already freaking done. For some reason, Barricade got 2 variations though. Of course, my least favorite one got more. Sergeant Barricade looks horrible and doesn't change a thing. I think it's time to start handing out F tiers. And you'd think making the red and blue cop colors neon would make for a pretty good look, but they did a horrible job. The neon is somehow dimmer than the normal one. F tier. And just like that, we move on to the one and only Chef Pig as Soundwave. Chef Pig isn't a huge Angry Birds character. It's always a pretty slim chance he'll actually appear. Like, how is he not in Angry Birds Go? That generally makes 0 sense to me. Regardless, the Pig team is pretty small as is, so I'm extremely glad they gave him a chance. He's just as evil as ever, still planning on taking out Megatron and becoming the new head honcho. Now we get to watch him curl his mustache in literally every variation of his character. Wait, I also just realized he has a normal snout? Why does literally every other pig have a metal snout? Why have the inconsistency at all? Whatever, I don't have time for conspiracy theories. First up is Soundwave, the first pig you unlock in the game. In his fully upgraded form, he gets a lot of yellow accents with his natural blue color, and it's a fun look. I have him pretty well upgraded too. He just decimates entire structures with a single blast. The main flaw is flying enemies can easily hit the guy due to his slow recharges, and he also walks kinda slow. I like this Chef Pig, but it's definitely flawed. A tier. Apparently Soundwave and Soundblaster, our next Chef Pig variant, fought over an Energon Cube and Soundwave won. Aw, don't worry Soundblaster, you got a neon version, which acts exactly the same and looks cooler, so it's fine. And Soundwave got one too, because of course he did! He actually has 2 weaker hits, but they're rapid fire, so it mostly felt the same. I'm just gonna say B, he looks worse in this form. Major Soundwave shoots 3 shots? But they're way worse and he looks like Dog Dookie. Okay, D it is then. And just like I said, here's Neon Soundwave, with some cool pink highlights for sure. I also learned that when this character released, he was somehow allowed to be bought for 0 tokens, when all the Warpass characters usually cost $20. This marked the first and only Neon character most players got, since thankfully people typically don't like buying bad battle passes. Read all about this on the Transformers wiki. They keep that thing extremely up to date and it is more helpful than you could imagine. Awesome wiki, cool history, alright character, let's say C. Soundblaster is a black and red color swap Chef Pig, which is arguably one of the badass color schemes possible. Plus his cassette chest makes a mean grilled cheese. They don't call him Chef Pig for nothing. He gets a crazy 5-shot spread, wiping out the whole screen when necessary. It's situationally better than Soundwave's, but mostly just worse. I'd say another A tier is in order. Neon Soundblaster is the most evil looking Decepticon out there, just glowing red. Pretty cool, B tier. Breakdown puts Soundwave's head on Bubble's body, giving him an all new vehicle type. They do this a lot, but I don't think the other pigs have had any examples of this yet. His weapon is this big scatter shot of pink bars that honestly do quite a lot of damage. I enjoyed playing as him enough to say A tier, and the best part is we are already moving to Corporal Pig as Galvatron. His half-covered helmeted head was just begging to be made into a Transformer. That's probably one of my favorite helmet pigs in Angry Birds history. How can you not? He loves fighting pigs and watching TV? I bet he's watching The Sopranos just like me.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
There are some non-negotiable conditions.
Like what?
You can't have your horse in here.
Why not?
Peter, the horse is here.
Enough about Tony Simpsons. How fun is Galvatron to play as? Well, his laser shot does seem pretty powerful, but otherwise he kinda has every aspect of the character I typically wouldn't like. He walks pretty slowly, once you're out of shots he takes a very long time to recharge, and his laser really only hits the block you aim for. If you're not precise, you're gonna run into problems. I found myself struggling on a fairly simple level. Galvatron seems insanely flawed, so here's hoping Corporal Pig has some better variations. D tier. The Energon version can't fix these issues, if anything he's almost worse. I hate these glowing losers anyways, definitely F tier. Also, I have to mention the most confusing cutscene comic in the game here. Some of them are strange, but this one takes it by a long shot. Motormaster shoots these weird arcs of oil, which is fitting for the character, but literally has no effect to it whatsoever. He's quite possibly one of the most basic, okay characters you could choose from. Pair that with his fully black and purple suit, and he goes right down the middle in B. There we go, Corporal Pig finally gets to be a big deal. A very big deal. Our first combiner of the day is Menasor. If you weren't aware, there are big old combined versions of Transformers you can play as in the game, and while they can't actually transform, they make up for it with an extra second ability. But I'm not even kidding, even without that ability, this would easily be one of the best characters in the freaking game. They not only have breakdowns and incredible pink bar bullets, but a little Motormaster oil shot just for fun. He never gets tired, he never stops pounding the ground, and he will never go anywhere other than S tier. Dragstrip just looks wrong. He has little baby arms. I can't help but stare every time he starts dancing. They at least tried something new for Corporal Pig. I don't know why pigs are only allowed to use Bubbles' body type, but I guess that's the rule now. He has a little plasma ball that ricochets off of objects. It sounds bad, but I think there's a homing aspect to it. The ball always hits at least a couple of spots. I really tried to like Dragstrip, but I think I gotta say C tier. Last up is Scorponok. I have no clue how that's pronounced, but I don't care. This guy looks incredible. It's pretty faithful to the actual Transformer, although I cannot see the helmet part of his head as anything but hair. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but he looks like a big pompadoured gooner to me. His weapon is very similar to Galvatron, still shooting concentrated laser, but it just works better and takes way longer to run out of juice, at least in my experience. It's still not my favorite moveset out there, but I love him so much, he's gotta be an A tier. Like all good things, they had to go and ruin him. Same loadout, disgusting quality. D tier. And of course, Neon Scorponok. Other than the shades, it's once again just worse. D tier. Thanks to the War Pass that I can't believe real people spend real money on, my bird list is now outdated. Obviously, it will become outdated again in the future, and maybe at some point I will cover those too, I don't know. We're not missing much, they're all just neons. Neon Hound, for example. Could be worse, D tier. Neon Arcee has the exact same problem Neon Chromia had. I can't even freaking tell the difference. Wow, her eyes glow more? Shut up, F tier. Neon Bumblebee is alright, but the original is just so much better looking. They can only make him worse, C tier. I gotta admit, out of all the new Neons, this one's pretty good. Not a lot of orange characters out there, I'm realizing. B tier. And the most recent one at the time of recording feels like a cardinal sin. Neon Private Mirage. I do not care if he looks a little cool. The fact that this isn't based on a regular Mirage, but Private Mirage endlessly grinds my goddamn gears, dude. F tier. And now, every single Transformer is based on the Minion Pig. That is so dumb for so many reasons. The birds continue to get new additions. How is freaking Zeta in here and Ross isn't? Don't try to pretend there weren't options. I have an entire list to prove that they could have added more pigs to the roster. Well, it's too late. Angry Birds, as always, went down a sad, sad path. At least the first few Minion Pigs will be fun, but don't be surprised if I start to lose it by the end of this. The OG is, of course, Starscream. Every other pig so far has been some sort of car, so it's cool to have a flying character. He almost has a patriotic thing going on, but he's more red, white, and gray than anything. It uses something called a null ray, meaning it can stun most enemies, but is super weak when trying to do anything else. It definitely has a use, but it's just really frustrating otherwise, and the stupid effect covers the screen half the time. F tier. Apparently he was fed a big ol' Energon cube sandwich and it goes horribly wrong. 18 plus gone freaky gone sexual gone skibbity gone. He gets a similar weapon to our next Minion Pig, Thundercracker. It is somehow stronger than Starscream's, that rapid fires and is infinite. You don't ever have to recharge. Actually incredible. B tier. The beat up Captain Starscream shoots blocks at enemies. I have no idea why, but I do have to appreciate some originality. C tier. And Neon Starscream glows in the dark with the same ability. It is just better looking, let's say C2. See, this is why I hate all the Minion Pigs. Look at Thundercracker, then Acid Storm, then Skywarp, then Sunstorm. They are all just recolored Starscreams, without fail. not to mention the countless scratch up and neon counterparts they received. So here's all I can say about Thundercracker's design. I love getting blue Starscream. I'd love to tell you he makes up for in firepower, but Thundercracker is insanely weak in every sense of the word. He has a rapid fire shot but barely does any damage. He has no health and I even died trying to use the guy. F tier. And can we please give it up for one of the worst cutscene comics in the game? I only half understand the plot here, but look at Megatron. This is official art, people. Sergeant Thundercracker also got a unique shot? What is this? Rather than blocks, this time he shoots TNT. But not just TNT, they have a null effect too. It's crazy that both these scratched up variants of the Minion Pig so far are leagues better than the normal ones. B tier. And of course we needed Neon Thundercracker too. It is barely even neon, but at least he still shoots TNT. D tier. Next we have Green Starscream, Acid Storm. Surprisingly, he actually has acid bullets, dealing little bits of damage over time, so to counteract this, he has the slowest fire rate of all the Minion Pigs. He's alright, but I gotta say C. Finally, we got another crappy reskin that doesn't change the character at all. Now I don't have to feel bad giving out F tiers. Skywarp is really annoying to use. Against wood blocks, he's the best. With a steady stream of fire missiles, he can burn them up extremely quickly. But there's some delay to his shots, they barely even scratch stone blocks, and because of that, it's a struggle to ever do well with the guy. Besides, what is there to say about the design? The purple looks nice, sure, but I'm already sick of the Minion Pig and we've barely even gotten started. D tier. Yes, another trash boy with no changes. Easy F tiers are truly the best. And once again, I fail to understand why they even give any characters a neon recolor when they don't even look good. F tier. Sunstorm not only specializes in being yellow, but destroying stone. It's too bad they don't have much of an explosive effect of any kind. Being able to destroy stone is strong, but not really enough to consider them good. Sunstorm is more fun than anything. B tier. Well, it took a while, but we finally got a good Minion Pig. He still looks like everyone else so far, big surprise there, but he's copied some of Terrence's favorite sky lasers. The beams shoot down at an angle, always hitting more than you even intended to. Unlike Terrence, he's actually pretty fast, and his weapon reloads at a reasonable pace. I cannot believe a Minion Pig is actually about to get an S tier. Wait. Novastorm is a girl? I hope one day she will be mine. She uses water bullets that are supposed to quote-unquote displace objects, but it literally just swipes everything somewhat near her completely off the left side of the screen. This pig is unstoppable. I am in love, and I cannot believe I'm giving out a freaking S tier again. I am not even mad there's a Seeker Novastorm. The more the merrier, I say. Definitely inferior though. Gotta be a B. Okay, we get it now. We have enough Novastorms now. You can be done now. For me, at this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within my kitchen, Neon Seeker Novastorm is the newest Deceptihog in the game. I cannot wait for Season 29. Maybe then we could get a Neon Captain Sergeant Seeker Stinky Steve next. I don't know why I'm letting this go on so long. I'm already sick of Novastorm. She's an F tier out of principle. I'm honestly not sure who this character is, but when I was trying to play his breakdown, some random Minion Pig kept carpet bombing the stage every 5 seconds. I don't even know who this guy is. It's somehow a new recolor of Starscream. I don't understand how they haven't run out of colors at this point. I will rank it when I find out who the freak this is. Let me know in the comments. It's Combiner time once again, and with a name like Devastator, I'm honestly pumped. He's also got a brand new Minion Pig design, which is greatly appreciated at this point. He's made up of a bunch of construction vehicles, and I really like this off-yellow color scheme. As far as combiners go though, I struggle to see why you'd ever even choose Devastator. He's not bad, his main weapon is just fine, and compared to Menasor, it's no contest. I do like Devastator, and I'm happy to still say A tier. But one just ain't enough, is it? Bloody, beaten up Devastator is equal to the original, except I hate you now. C tier. Next is another new Minion Pig, Cyclonus. Using the body type of silver, Cyclonus looks super vintage and futuristic at the same time. I kinda love it. Also, is this vehicle just an X-Wing from Star Wars? Silly Angry Birds got their crossovers mixed up. How foolish. Cyclonus also has a weapon type unlike any other, with multiple ways to attack. This smaller laser that still does crazy good damage, or a charge shot that fires a big boy laser. It's cool to be able to charge when there's nothing to attack, but the smaller shot is so good it's not even necessary. For some reason my whole screen shook the second I went into flying mode, so I apologize for the crappy footage. Let's wrap it up then. I love it. S tier. And then we got the Coneheads. Apparently they missed having countless Minion Pig clones, so they made 3 more. They were added at the same time. This was purposeful. I'd be more mad if they weren't our last playable pigs. What a way to end. Although their only choice of headwear is freaking traffic cones, which pretty much makes up for all the grievances I've ever had about this game, period. Up first is Dirge, the blue one. We've pretty much already seen this character. He shoots TNT boxes like Sergeant Thundercracker. Not a bad conehead, B tier. Then there's Ramjet, the red and black one. I wasn't expecting much at this point, but holy shit, this thing's Demon Ray is insane! You can just hold it down and aim anywhere on screen and it will just auto-target to every obstacle and obliterate it. Oh, and did I mention he just creates a shield sometimes? You know, just for fun? Screw shooting TNT blocks, this is what you call a conehead. S tier. Our last beta pick of the day also gets to be tied to one of the best characters in the game. I'll never stop hating these knockoffs, but if we had to get one, I guess Ramjet isn't so bad of a choice. C tier. Our last playable character of the list is Thrust. That's a pretty sick nickname. I'm curious what kind of hobbies you'd have to participate in to receive such a title. Our red and yellow conehead has some seemingly slow shots at first, but it definitely makes up for it in damage. It even causes enemies to be stunned if they can survive the hit. Its recharge time is way too slow to be good though, but he's alright I suppose. Let's give out one last C tier. But of course we're not done. For some reason the enemies of the game are also pigs. Why we have pig on pig action in this game I'm not quite sure. I guess the egg sparks turn them all evil or something. The pig bots are the most basic enemies, but certainly not the only ones. They can also shoot with guns, fly with propellers, swim as sharks, bite as bats, and die in one hit. Harder levels feature stronger pigs, but most are extremely weak and can die from just falling over. They're also a form of currency in the game, which seems a bit cruel, but dead bodies are probably just as dirty as a freaking dollar bill at this point. I'll have to collect some photos of all the random pig bots I can find, and I'll throw them on the list as I see fit. Then of course we have the monoliths, one of the main reasons you have to transform in the game. It's fun to have the little zoom in as they nearly crush you. But let's be real, they totally ripped out the mechanic from Donkey Kong Country, and I truly hate the look of these things. F tier. Mortar Towers are a bit more menacing, shooting flaming rocks at you as you fight for your life. These guys are a bit more fun I'd say. I guess I'm okay with them going in C. Let's not forget the bosses either. I'm not going to count the big fat bat boss because it's literally just a big fat bat. But there is a boss pig. This guy is the boss. He reminds me a lot of that one Corporal Pig. Now flying around is just a head. I've never got to fight him myself, but I know just trying to survive his attacks is a challenge. I think he's great. Let's say A tier. Sadly, Professor Pig was never playable, but at least he got to be here, right? His little face is on the menu screen at all times and is in charge of your Energonicons. I already have them all, so he kinda just sat in anticipation for a while. Poor little guy. D tier. But we had to save the biggest and baddest for last, the Unicron Pig. I may or may not have expected a unicorn before reading its title, but I'm very happy it turned out to not be that. When every single level in this game plays the same as the last, it is always a blast to fight bosses, especially ones as cool as this. He's just massive, floating in the background, and you have to give everything you've got to beat him. It feels like such a great way to end our list. The Unicron Pig is the most menacing villain in the game, and for that, he has to be S tier. Now, before we add all these pigs to our old list, there's something people definitely expect me to address. I know I ranked this character way too highly to begin with, and now I'm paying the price. A certain someone present in this image here has been cancelled. All YouTubers are pedos now. It's a trend I don't plan to follow. But we should probably put them in F tier, right? I know you all agree, so let's not even question it. Stella really needs to be taught a lesson. I always knew she was up to no good. Ah, man, it feels good to have that finally settled. Anyways, this was not the conclusion I was expecting to come to, but are the Deceptihogs just better than the birds? There are way more Autobirds with pretty much every flock member getting a spotlight, and I love that. But most of the characters weren't very good, or just carbon copies of one another. The pigs had that problem too, but way less. Even in the sea of Minion Pig clones, there were a few diamonds in the rough. I just generally enjoyed talking about this list of characters more than the last time, which is the complete opposite of what I assumed to be true. So I've learned my lesson. Screw birds! This is the Bad Piggies only channel now, get used to it! Which, yes, does mean we're ranking Bad Piggies very soon, which I'm pretty excited about. Stay tuned. And thank you all for watching. Who are your favorite pigs? Do you prefer the Autobirds or the Deceptihogs? And just how annoying was my lack of Transformers knowledge? I'd love to hear from you. My members are practically begging to get Pig Zoners once more. If you'd ever like to see who you'd be in pig form, then please consider becoming a member of the channel today. Thank you Leland, Patrick Barricade, Breakstreak, Dojo Master, Jasper TV, Keep, Gall Guy, Jeb the Legend, Cheaper Ying, Test Monkey, Marie, Callum Ford, Perskill Banana, Checky, Mr. Odell, Timor, Kuranov, Aaron the Ghoul, Freakish Smile, Bordo to Bordo, Pika Girl for You, Miku, Geminot, Lewis, MD Switchy, Tapood74, Omegon, Tarky, Christoph Creations, Kirby Channel 2, OK, Jonathan Biscoff, Skivity, Labatane, and Nathan Brown. Are we done ranking pigs? I know there's a ton more I could rank, but how many more should we rank, really? There couldn't possibly be another spin-off with a large group of pigs that people are obsessed about that I rank super lowly that sooner or later I'll eventually have to talk about. There's no way there's something like that. Although their only choice of headwear is freaking traffic cones, which pretty makes up for all the Although their choice of headwear is Although their only choice of headwear is freaking traffic cones, which pretty much makes up for all the grievances I've ever had about this game, period.